So today I'm gonna review the speaking part one. So we're gonna talk about the three topics. The topic one is the work or study. So coming to the first questions, do you work or study? Yeah, I work as the data analytic engineer at the Congat Palmolive Vietnam. Basically, a big part of my job is taking quite a messy data from different sources and turning it into something business can actually use. I build data pipelines, dashboards, and automated reports. A lot of work happens behind the scenes, and but it's basically self-ordered team from doing same repetitive tasks over and over again. So, what do you like about your job? Probably the most satisfying part is seeing someone actually use something I've built. I remember automating one report that a team used to spend nearly half a day putting together manually. The first time it ran by itself and produced the whole thing in the few minutes. One of the user messaged me and said, "You've just saved me half a day every week." That kind of feedback is incredibly rewarding because I can see exactly how my work make someone day little easier. So, what do you do after work? Most evening I still end up something data related, which is probably a bit ironic considering the I work with the data all day. At the moment, I'm trying to improve my English and occasionally experimenting with small automation projects of my own. I normally give myself an hour or so after dinner, but if I have had a particularly uh, hard day at work, I just lie in the bed and put a series on and switch my brain off completely. And coming to the topic two, so crowded places. The first one, do the most people like crowded places? I would say it depends on the situation. For example, if it's a nice market or live event, a crowd can actually make the place feel more exciting because there is a real buzz in the air. But if I'm in just but if I'm just trying to get somewhere like taking the metro during the rush hour or walking through the pocket shopping mall, I find it's quite draining for me. So crowded places are enjoyable only when the crowd adds to some experience, not when it gets in the way. So, do you like crowded places? Not particularly. I get mentally drained quite quickly when I'm surrounded by too many people, especially in the places like park shopping malls where there is constant noise and people are bursting past you every few seconds. After about half an hour, I normally start looking somewhere quiet to just to get away from the sensory overload. So unless there is a specific reason for me to be there, I tend to steer clearly of the really crowded places. The next question is, when was the last time you were in a crowded place? Let me remember. It was just last weekend. I went to a shopping mall to grab a quick dinner, but I completely forgot it were around the 7 in the evening. So the food court were actually absolutely packed. I spent nearly 10 minutes just trying to find an empty table, and there were people queuing everywhere. After a while, I got so fed up with the noise and crowd, and that just grabbed my food, go to and ate somewhere else. And so, is the city where you live crowded? Definitely yes. I live in Ho Chi Minh cities, and you really noticed it that crowd during the morning rush. My office only 10 kilometers from home, but on a bad day, a short commute can take me nearly an hour because the roads are completely jammed with the motorbikes. Sometimes I'll sit the same traffic light for 2 or 3 cycles before I can even get through. So I've basically learned to plan my day around the traffic. So the last question is there a crowded place near where you live? Yes, there is a local wet market about a 5 minutes walk from my places. I get really hectic first thing is in the morning. The street outside is quite narrow, and the people often stop their motorbike right in the middle of the road to buy the vegetables or pick up the breakfast. Whenever I pass through on my way to work, I have to slow right down and wave my way to through the traffic. It's a tiny market, but somehow it's create a massive bottleneck every morning. So coming to the topic three, the technology. So what kind of app have you downloaded on your phone? Most of app most of apps on my phones are pretty functionally. Actually, I have a few banking and work related apps, but one the but the ones I use most are probably messaging apps and tools for learning English. I've been working on my speaking recently, so I've often often stuff the new expressions or listen to something in English on my commute. My phone is basically where I squeeze small bit of learning into the otherwise busy day. What technology do you often use, computer or cell phones? As I told you, I work as a data analytic engineer. So definitely my computer. I work in the data, so there are days when I'm in front in front of two screens or 48 or 9 hours writing the code, taking the data or build the dashboard. My phone is mostly something I reach for between tasks, whereas my computer is where virtually my serious work get done. At the end of the day, I've usually had more than enough screen time. So, what electronic device have you bought lately? Honestly, nothing nothing particularly exciting. I haven't bought a new device in a few months because my laptop, my phone, my headphone are all still working perfectly fine. I'm quite reluctant to replace the technology just for the sake of having the latest version. Unless something starts slowing me down or generally affect for my work, I'll normally keep using it until it's give me a real reason to upgrade. Is there any technology you want to buy? No, I do look at the new laptop and grab it from time to time. Usually, it just a tech enthusiast in me getting curious rather than uh, rather than me genuinely needing an upgrade. My current setup handle my data work, personal project perfectly well. So spending a large amount of money just to get slightly better performance doesn't make much sense to me right now. So is the technology important to your life in your life? Massively. I mean, in my entire job exists because of technology. I spend most of my working day moving data between the system, automating processes, and building things that people can access through the screen. Even outside work, I usually use the technology to practice English or work on personal projects. So is it not really something that I can silently think about the using anymore? It's almost the infrastructure my daily life run on. So coming to the sixth the question number six, is there any technology do you like? Uh, is there any technology you don't like? I wouldn't say there is a particularly device that I dislike, but I get frustrated with the technology that's supposed to make work easier and somehow create three extra step instead. Either use internal system where a simple task mean up mean uh, opening several streams entire the same information type. So coming to the last questions, what do you think are trends in technology today compared when you were young? The biggest trend I've noticed is that technology has become much more proactive. When I was young, you basically had to tell our computer exactly what you wanted to do it. You search for something, click through the menus, and manually entire information. Now, with the AI software, can summarize a document, suggest what you what you want to write, or even automate it. Part of the workflow before you've worked through the every step yourself.